com.
Hey, Larry Elder here. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt and KHNC.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, January 27th, 6:05 in the morning. This is the Bucky Dillon Show, our morning show, a collaborative between myself and the free-thinking, free-spirited, freedom-loving, free speech advocating patriot community right here in Northern Colorado or worldwide, listening to the radio broadcast 1360 KHNC.com. You can catch the live stream, youtube.com/Liberty Revolt. We will also be sharing it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Liberty Revolt Media. Guys, feel invited to call into the show a little bit later on. Just know that I would like to take some calls and have conversations about it a little bit later into the show. Maybe the fourth and final segments. You are invited to call. That phone number would be 970-660-1722. 970-660-1722. I will put you live on the air with me. So what do I want to talk about today? A lot of people are talking about the impeachment trial in the Senate. It looks like that did not pan out. Ron Paul gave a very fiery speech. I thought it was pretty eye-opening and laid out a pretty strong case. I mean, we did have Democrats essentially inciting violence all summer long. Hell, for the last 4 years, they've been inciting violence. Right? I mean, you had, what is that doofy actor's name from Pirates of the Caribbean? Oh, everybody likes him. All the girls like him. I don't remember his name, man. I don't watch that crap. Yeah, whoever plays the main guy in Pirates of the Caribbean, he was out there saying, when was the last time an actor assassinated a president? Right? You had the at the pro-abortion rally, you had that one chick who was out there. I have been thinking a lot about blowing up the White House. You had that other doofy actor, the Italian guy, Robert De Niro. I'd like to punch Donald Trump in the face. Somebody should punch Donald Trump in the face. Right? We had, when they go low, we kick them. Right? During the Kavanaugh appointment, you had Chuck Schumer out there. You have unleashed the whirlwind and you will pay the price. Right? You had Bernie Sanders for, gosh, who knows how long, going out there and saying, if you disagree with my healthcare plan, it's because you want people to die. Republicans want people to die. Right? And then you had a crazed Bernie Sanders supporter show up at a congressional baseball game and shoot Steve Scalise. You had Maxine Waters going out there. If you see any member of that cabinet in a department store, in a grocery store, in a park with their children, at a gasoline station, you create a crowd and you push back at them. And you tell them that they're not welcome anymore. Anywhere. Not in California. Not in Colorado. Not on the moon. Not in Wakanda. You create a crowd. You tell them. Right? Ron Paul was at that baseball game when that lunatic gunman came out firing on Republican senators. And he stated in his war cry, healthcare. This is about healthcare. You want people to die, so I want you to die. That, right? Chris Cuomo, who says protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful. I'm still waiting for the CNN headline. Insurrection, but mostly peaceful. Right? Never mind the constitutionality of whether you can impeach someone who is not in office. And it is not to say that Donald Trump didn't have rhetoric that I disagree with. Right? But are we now going to pretend like we live in a world where you're not allowed to say we need to fight and take our country back? Is that where we're at now? We're not allowed to speak like that? How many politicians have said we need to fight like hell? What's really interesting is that in Trump's speech, he explicitly said, we're going to march down to the Capitol and we're going to peacefully and patriotically make our voices heard. I think he should have been much quicker on denouncing what was going on. Absolutely. I think he should have been much quicker. I mean, I think it was horrendous that he came out there and then he was like, you're very special people. Go home. Okay. We love you. We care about you. That was absolutely retarded. And the mob itself was completely counterproductive. All it did was justify all the resistance against the so-called liberty movement. That's all it did. Look at the result. Bucky Dillon Show. Hey, we're going to talk about the origins of the pandemic. 1360K.
Are you paying too much for your home, life, or auto insurance? It only takes 10 minutes to find out. Hi, this is Kevin Voles with Badger Insurance Advisors. Choosing insurance plans can be difficult. That's why I make it easy. I'll make the calls, compare the plans and prices, and find you the insurance plan that fits your needs. Best of all, my help is at no cost to you. Call me today at 303-359-1799 or visit badgerinsuranceadvisors.com. Let me find the right insurance for you.
Hi, this is Bob Enyart with Colorado Rights Life. Please work to abolish abortion, but reject all so-called pro-life efforts to regulate child killing. Even on the surface, regulations undermine the very concept of the right to life, and they convince even our own judges, tragically, that the fetus they consent to killing must not be a real child. See AmericanRTL.org/regulations for more.
Hey, it's Larry Elder. Thank you for listening to me every weekday from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on 1360 KHNC, the roar of the Rockies. Do you own a business in northern Colorado or surrounding areas? Are you looking to reach a conservative, family-based, loyal audience which could grow your business? Well, take my advice and just call 970-587-5003 or email on the air at 1360khnc.com and tell them Larry sent you.
Back in the USSR.
Socialism, like the ancient ideas from which it springs, confuses the distinction between government and society. As a result, every time we object to a thing being done by government, the socialists conclude we object to it being done at all. We disapprove of state education, and the socialists say we are opposed to any education. Socialism. Frederick Bastiat, The Law.
Back in the USSR. The Bucky Dillon Show is a Liberty Revolt Media production. www.libertyrevoltmedia.com.
So when we think of biological warfare, we typically think of anthrax and deadly scientific viruses that men in white lab coats have constructed. And the military industrial complex has unleashed, whether that be ours or that of other countries. It is typically considered the most heinous of all forms of warfare. And fair enough, right? But this form of warfare has had incarnations as far back as, I mean, the medieval times, really, and probably further back than that. I mean, the Romans were the first to launch dead cattle over, city walls when they were sieging enemy territories or territories that they wanted to conquer. I mean, back then, people really relied on walls, and they would close themselves off, right? So, I mean, what would happen? It was actually pretty effective, right? Because you have people trapped in their city, and then you kill all of their livestock, all of their food, and you let it rot. So they're starving inside the city, and then you launch putrid meat over the walls, and starving people inevitably eat it, and it spreads disease all around, right? And it just causes fear and panic, right? Hannibal of Carthage. Hannibal is credited, along with a long list of other accreditations, for very unique biological warfare. What he would do is fill clay pots with venomous snakes. And then when he was engaged in naval combat, he would launch these clay pots into enemy boats, and they would shatter open and release very pissed off venomous snakes onto the enemy's boat. And then they had to fight naval warfare while also trying to avoid these pissed off venomous snakes, right? In 198 AD, the Parthian city of Hatra, which is now known as Iraq, beat back a Roman onslaught by much similar means. Instead of snakes, however, the clay pots were filled with live scorpions, right? In 1364 AD, Khan Jenneberg, believed to be the descendant of Genghis Khan, led the Golden Horde against the city of Kaffa. Stories differ, but the gist is that Khan used plague-infected bodies as catapult ammo to hurl them over enemy walls. One story says that his own men had become infected with the plague, and he was using his own soldiers to hurl them over the walls. And that helps to introduce the plague to the European world. So, biological warfare isn't anything new. Of course, there's, in the 15th century, the New World was introduced to biological warfare as Spanish Pizarro gifted clothing to South American natives. The clothing was contaminated with smallpox. This was again duplicated in the 18th century by Lord Geoffrey Amherst during the French Indian War unto the American Indians. In today's world, biological warfare has been outlawed by the Geneva Convention, but it is known that Russia and Iraq have been engaging in biological warfare research. the U.S. Was publicly ceasing from that kind of research in 1969, but are they really abiding by it? Now we've heard, of course, that they were injecting, the United States government was injecting Black Americans with syphilis so they could test the untreated consequences of syphilis, right? But they didn't just do it to Black Americans. I mean, we were in South America injecting people in Brazil, if I'm correct. Now, all of this that I'm saying today is that they're just conspiracies. I'm reading on the internet, okay? I'm not saying it's true. I'm just putting it out there because it's interesting. It seems relevant. And unlike the left, who thinks that we need to ban speech, that people shouldn't be allowed to think for themselves, I personally believe that Americans are smart enough to look at the evidence and make up their own minds. So I'm not telling you what to believe, and I'm not saying this is necessarily what I believe. I am just using my platform to report things that I've seen that I think may have some merit to it, and perhaps we should just take a look at it, right? Make up our own minds. Let's have a conversation about it. There was a Bulgarian investigative journalist. Her name is Dilyana Gatinjeva, very pretty woman, who got herself in hot water on several occasions. She reportedly exposed evidence that the CIA and the Pentagon were arming our so-called enemies in the Middle East. And it's true. And what's really interesting is that we were the Pentagon and the CIA act independently of each other sometimes. And so we had a situation to where the Pentagon was sending weapons and funding to one rebel group that were supposedly going to take down our enemy, right? And then the CIA was funding a different rebel group, which was supposed to take down our enemy. And they ended up using those weapons to fight each other as Al-Qaeda and ISIS got even more powerful, right? And what were we really up to in the Middle East, right? We all know that not even the president really has a full understanding of what we've been engaged in, right? The CIA and the Pentagon are run by unelected bureaucrats that basically give intelligence reports to the president. But the president has a million things going on. Honestly, the president is just the public face, right? He's almost like the false flag leader, in my opinion. In a lot of instances, it seems like the president is just out there to do media, and the deep state is what is actually running the government. And those unelected officials are there long after the president leaves, and in many ways are far more impactful, right? So the president doesn't really know what's going on. They only tell the president what they want the president to know and report. And I think the president can get access to some documents, but I don't even think the president has access to everything, right? So Dilyana Gatinjeva, she got herself in hot water for the Syria thing. And then she got herself in hot water for investigating secret Pentagon-funded biolaboratories in 25 different countries around the world. This is excluding the biolaboratories they have here in the United States. This is an article she wrote. Okay, well, first, I want to give you a rundown of her initial investigation, right? She came out and did an investigation into these biolaboratories a while back in a documentary that she released called Diplomatic Viruses. What this documentary was essentially uncovering, or what she was investigating, I suppose, was the Pentagon's involvement of funding biolaboratories in 25 different countries, one of which was in the country of Georgia. Now, Georgia's in that little pocket near Azerbaijan and Turkey. It's kind of in that pocket in between India, Russia, and China. And her contention was that the U.S. was engaged in doing very shady biological warfare research right on the borders of Russia and China. Now, she is very anti-U.S. She's very, very anti-U.S. military-industrial complex. She seems pretty progressive. And, you know, take it with a grain of salt, right? Because she did kind of go out there and say that, you know, the first form of biological warfare was the British unleashing smallpox on the Native Americans, which is obviously not true. There's obviously a lot more to the story than that, right? So she went down to Georgia, and what she discovered was that the U.S. Embassy to Tbilisi, which is the capital of Georgia, transports frozen human blood and pathogens as diplomatic cargo. Internal documents leaked to me by Georgian insiders implicate U.S. scientists in the transportation and experimenting on pathogens under diplomatic cover. According to these documents, Pentagon scientists have been deployed to the Republic of Georgia and have been given diplomatic immunity to research deadly diseases and biting insects at the Lugar Center, a Pentagon biolaboratory in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi. This military facility is just one of many Pentagon biolaboratories in 25 countries around the world. And she did on-the-ground interviews, and she kind of got documents kind of exposing some of the money that was going into this. Now, this was back in like 2017, before any of this coronavirus stuff. What's really interesting is she investigated the alleged laboratory accident at the Lugar Center, the Pentagon biolaboratory in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, which had resulted in the death of 2 Filipinos working in the laboratory. The death cases were hidden by the local authorities, but I recorded on camera witnesses who testified about the incident. Project G2101, Pentagon Biolab discovered MERS and SARS-like coronaviruses in bats. The Lugar Center scientists collected 450 bats in total in 2012 and 2014. Bat samples were shipped to the CDC in Atlanta for screening for pathogens. However, what then seems to be like a local issue turned out to be part of a bigger story. The Lugar Center in Georgia is just one of the many Pentagon biolaboratories in 25 different countries around the world. They are funded by the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA, under a $2.1 billion military program, cooperative biological engagement program, and are located in former Soviet Union countries such as Georgia, Ukraine, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Africa. Much of their work is classified and includes projects on bioagents and pathogens with pandemic potential. You're listening to the Bucky Dillon Show.
This is Mark Call, host of the Come Out of Her My People show here on the Roar of the Rockies. Tune in to discover why, whether it's the law of the land or scripture, what you've probably heard it says is not what is written. It's time to come out of all of that.
1360khnc.com has CBD products. Click on the shop button and get yours today.
Just go to 1360khnc.com/shop. The CBD on our website is 99% pure, all natural, no pesticides, non-GMO, is grown organically right here in Colorado, and is 100% THC free. Oh, and did you know ours is the lowest price CBD anywhere in Northern Colorado? For all your CBD needs, just log on to 1360khnc.com/shop.
This is Sam Shook, Navy Vet and Medicare Specialist. I just want to thank the KHNC listeners for their support and trust in me as their Medicare specialist. If you are currently on Plan F, we are in a window of opportunity that can save you a lot of money towards your monthly premium. Please contact me at 970-413-4939. If you are getting into Medicare soon or are already enrolled and have questions, please call me at 970-413-4939. Again, thanks KHNC listeners.
Hi, Brian Kilmeade here. Thanks so much for listening to me every weekday from 7 a.m. till 10 a.m. right here on KHNC, the Roar of the Rockies. Hey, do you own a business in Northern Colorado or surrounding areas? Are you looking to reach a conservative, loyal audience which could grow your business? Well, take my advice and contact my friends at KHNC. KHNC has a rapidly growing conservative family-based audience, and you can speak directly to them. Now, if you're looking for the type of customers or clients that believe in the principles that our great country was founded upon, just contact my friends at KHNC, the Roar of the Rockies, and learn how you can be heard right on the air. Just call 970-587-5003 or email on the air at 1360khnc.com. That's 970-587-5003 or email on the air at 1360khnc.com. Take it from me, Brian Kilmeade. You can showcase your business to the folks that are helping to take our country back.
Reasons to own gold. Reason number 725.
The government goes out of its way to make you believe Social Security has an account with your name on it with money just for you. But the Supreme Court ruled that payments due under Social Security are not property rights and are not protected. Social Security is merely a tax, and the government is under no obligations to pay you anything. Call the Patriot Trading Group, 800-951-0592, or visit allamericangold.com.
This is Rick Rodriguez. Christ said, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. Join me every Sunday, 9 to 11 a.m. for the Olive Tree and Lampstand Ministry Radio Church on the new 1360 KHNC.
Great minds think alike. Thank you for listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, hosted by the Liberty Revolt. Join me, Larry Elder, today at 5 on 1360 KHNC. Now back to Bucky Dillon.
Herb, are you on the air?
Yes. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, man? So let me get through.
I'm doing all right.
Let me get through a little bit of this, and then I'll get your comments here and there. Okay.
All right.
All right. The genetic study on bats by the United States Pentagon. The Lugar Center, a $161 million pentagram-funded biolaboratory in Georgia's capital, Tbilisi, discovered coronaviruses in bats with presumably pandemic potential as early as 2014, documents have revealed. Furthermore, in 2017, the Pentagram launched a $6.5 million program in cooperation with the Lugar Center involving genetic studies on coronaviruses in 5,000 bats collected in Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and Jordan. She's got a series of pictures here of United States scientists collecting bats in the area. Coincidentally, the same Pentagon contractor tasked with the U.S. DoD Bat Research Program, EcoHealth Alliance USA, also collected bats and isolated coronaviruses along with Chinese scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. EcoHealth Alliance received a $3.7 million grant from the U.S. National Institute of Health to collect and study coronaviruses in bats in China from 2014 to 2019. And we all saw this. Remember, when all of this started happening, we saw pictures of Dr. Fauci, Obama, Bill Gates doing tours of the Wuhan lab. Herb, did you see that?
Yes, I did. Dylan, it's the interesting part about all of this is that we Americans seem to think that our government has our best interest in mind, and yet we have evidence of numerous times that we have gone around the globe and we've invested in, done the research on biological warfare. When I heard you here a few minutes ago, the thing that struck me is I've been pointing this out to friends here as of late when they're trying to understand why Black people recoil at the thought of taking an injection from our government. During that study, you brought up for syphilis at the Tuskegee, it's called a Tuskegee incident. Blacks were intentionally injected with syphilis, told that it was a vaccine, promised food, shelter, and medical care. That study went on for 40 years.
Right, and
But
we
the
didn't
sad
just do
part
it
about
there. We did it in South America as well.
Guatemala, actually, and is it not interesting that right now the people who are coming to, I shouldn't say invade, but the people who are coming to our border, excuse me, wanting entrance into this country are from Guatemala. 2010, Hillary Clinton and Kathleen Sebelius went to Guatemala to apologize for those people for the study that we did on them. And how long did that one last? About 40 years. So we've gone around the globe and we've done things to people in other countries, but yet we stand back here and act as if we're so pious and we're so great. We need to do all of this to fix it. We as Americans need to wake up to the fact that biological warfare is something that still exists. It is something that we still invest in, even though we try to cover it up. And we need to be aware that just because someone says that we need to fight this virus doesn't mean that it's a natural virus. Right. If it's man-made, and there are those who truly believe that what we're dealing with right now is biological warfare because the fact that it is changing so much. Right. How is it that one injection right now is going to take care of a virus that has come out with so many variants that you really don't even know which one a person has? But I'm going to give you this injection because this should help.
Oh, you ready to be really scared? In March of 2015, the United States patented a drone to carry toxic, virally infected mosquitoes and release them, right? There's a patent. Yeah. There's a patent for a drone that carries mosquitoes. And they were doing, remember, the Lugar Center was investigating not only pathogens, but also biting insects. They were studying bats and biting insects. So listen to this. In 2012, the United States Center for Disease Control collected and sampled 236 bats for research in Georgia with cooperation with the Lugar Center. Right? In 2014, the U.S. Center for Disease launched a second project, Emerging Zoonotic Pathogens in Georgian Bats, along with Georgian scientists at the Lugar Center. The project was funded by the International Science and Technology Center. Former bioweapon scientists working at the Lugar Center, ISTC, that's the International Science and Technology Center, the organization that funded the BAT project in Georgia in 2014 was established in 1992 as a non-proliferation international program, providing former biological and chemical weapon scientists with new opportunities for sustainable, peaceful employment. 7 of the Georgian scientists involved in the ISTC BAT research program in Georgia turn out to be former bioweapon scientists who had previously worked on the development of bioweapons, according to the ISTC project documents. Among them is Peeta Hernandez, the deputy director of the Georgia National Center for Disease Control, where Lugar Center is located. The Georgia National Center for Disease Control did mention briefly the ISTC project. The Lugar Center developed coronaviruses similar to the epidemic SARS and MERS coronaviruses, according to the ISTC project manager at Lugar Center, virologist Leila Ursashadeza. The results were published in a by Uradaja in her dissertation submitted to Ilia State University in 2018. Both SARS and MERS coronavirus have pandemic potential and already caused global epidemics in 2003 and 2013. The World Health Organization has estimated the overall fatality rate for SARS patients to 14 to 15% and for MERS at 35%. Based on our research, we can say that bats in Georgia are reservoirs for such bacterial and viral pathogens as Barcelona coronaviruses, Leptospira, and Brucella, which are all likely to have pandemic potential. In total, we have captured 450 bats using nets and hand nets from 8 different roosts. The experimental materials were collected twice in 2012 and in 2014. They were transported in a field laboratory or BSL-3 laboratory for further processing and research for the presence of the aforementioned pathogens.
So if we know that we go around the globe, we do all of this research, we play with all of these pathogens, how is it so difficult for people to put 2 and 2 together? Human nature says we will always do something to destruct each other or destroy each other.
Right.
We are on that same path right now.
You're listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, 1360 KHNC. Don't leave. We'll be right back.
One of the most important things for veterans is to be heard, and VA is listening. Appeals modernization is changing the way VA decision disagreements are processed, for the better.
Veterans, if you disagree with an initial VA claim decision received after February 2019, you have a choice of 3 review lanes. Contact an accredited representative to help you decide which choice is right for you. For more information, visit va.gov/decision-reviews.
I can take control with VA's new, faster review process.
Hi, this is Mike Morris, owner of Warriors Revolution Tactical in Longmont. At Warriors Revolution, we have the largest selection of tactical gear and ammo in northern Colorado. But what many people may not know is that we now sell firearms. And even despite the recent run on firearms and ammunition, we have plenty of product in the store, including ARs, AKs, Glocks, SIGs, HK, and more. And don't forget all the bulk ammunition at the best prices in town. Need to do a private firearms transfer? We can do that too. I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and our team is made up of veterans and security experts, not a bunch of salesmen. Our team is trained and fought with much of the actual equipment we sell. And one thing you should know is that we support the foundations and principles this great country was founded upon. So if you need tactical gear, ammo, firearms, AR parts or upgrades, and even survival accessories, stop by and visit us on Ken Pratt Boulevard and Bowen Street in Longmont, or visit warriorsrevolution.com. That's warriorsrevolution.com.
Hi, KHNC listeners. Jerry Axon with Sears Real Estate. Please keep me in mind when you are ready to buy or sell, or if you have real estate questions. Another option is the lease with option to buy. The lease program is set up with a year-to-year lease and guarantees a fixed rent and purchase price for 5 years. Jerry Axon, 970-576-1089, 576-1089. Jerry at SearsRealEstate.com。
欢迎收听 KHNC 广播电台 Bucky Dillon 早安秀，大家的早安广播，谢谢。
Herb, are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
All right, I want to get to a few more things before we just riff about it for a little bit, all right?
All right.
All right, so at this Georgian biolaboratory, not only were they collecting bats and studying coronaviruses and MERS and SARS-like pathogens, they were studying biting insects. They were specifically studying sand flies. They were specifically studying fleas and ticks. They were specifically studying mosquitoes. And not only that, they were studying if it was possible to put viruses and other toxins inside of mosquitoes. And then they were at the same time in 2000, this was going on in 2012 and 2014. At the same time in 2015, they made public a patent for a military drone that could carry mosquitoes and release them. Now, what's interesting is if you look up aggressive mosquito species, you'll see that right around the time of the pandemic in the UK, in South America, in the United States, they were finding mosquitoes, which were, they seemed to be a new breed of mosquitoes that were exceptionally aggressive. I know that they were doing research in CSU 10, 15 years ago about breeding excessively aggressive mosquitoes. Here at CSU, Colorado State University, they were doing that. Not only this, they were collecting RNA RNA samples from blood samples from Russian and Chinese people. This laboratory in Georgia was collecting blood samples from Russians and Chinese. And then there was Russian state officials who were going out there and saying that they were very concerned about this research because it looked as though U.S. biolaboratories were studying to make ethnic specific viruses. Now, again, I'm not saying this is what I believe. I'm not saying that all of this is cold hard facts that you should just believe without doing your own research. I'm just saying I stumbled upon some of this research and I thought it was interesting, and I'm sharing it with our audience because I believe that you guys have free will. You're able to think critically and you can do your own research. All right. I respect you guys. And that's why I'm putting it out there. I'm not saying believe everything I'm saying. I'm saying this is what I am seeing. Right now, we know that that the United States has been doing this, right? For instance, the White House website published a petition to test the biochemical laboratory in Fort Detrick, the largest biomedical research institution run by the Ministry of United States Defense. This is a laboratory in Maryland that processes high-level disease-causing materials such as Ebola, which was closed to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which refused to work with the organization in 2019. And remember, there was news articles coming out about how this Ebola had been getting sent through the United States U.S. Postal Service haphazardly around, right? There was incidents where they had this testing acreage, and they were using planes to spray chemical weapons for testing and research purposes. And I guess they didn't take account the wind because a gust of wind came through and blew all those things. And farmers, 6,000, farmers a couple hundred miles away were walking outside in the morning to find their entire flock of sheep dead. 6,000 sheep. You can look that up. Look up Fort Detrick, Maryland, chemical weapons, sheep, and you'll find it, right? So now let's get back to what the United States was doing in Wuhan. The Chinese laboratory at the center of scrutiny over a potential coronavirus leak has been using U.S. government money to carry out research on bats from the caves, which scientists believed are the original source of the deadly outbreak. The Wuhan Institute of Virology undertook coronavirus experiments on mammals captured more than 1,000 miles away in Wenan, which were funded by a $3.7 million grant from the United States government. Sequencing of the COVID-19 genome has traced it back to bats found in Wunan caves, which is not Wuhan, Wunan, in Wunan caves, but it was first thought to have transferred to humans at an animal market in Wuhan. The revelation that the Wuhan Institute was experimenting on bats from the area already known to be the source of the COVID-19, and in doing so with American money, has sparked further fears that the lab, not the market, is the original source of the outbreak. U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz said, "I am disgusted to learn that for years, the U.S. government has been funding dangerous and cruel animal experiments at the Wuhan Institute, which may have contributed to the global spread of the coronavirus, and research at other labs in China that have virtually no oversight from U.S. authorities." The $37 million Wuhan Institute of Virology, the most advanced laboratory of its type on the Chinese mainland, is based 20 miles away from the now infamous wildlife market that was thought to be the location of the original transfer of the virus from animals to humans. We gave them $3.7 million. We were funding the laboratory. We were collecting RNA samples. And this is not to say it's all the United States' fault. This is not to say that China didn't play their role. China absolutely played their role. My guess is that the United States was funding it, that the Chinese were operating it, and it got out of the lab due to incompetence on the part of the Chinese. And then they tried to cover it up, and that's where we are at now. Final segment coming up. We'll riff about it. Herb and I. You're listening to the Bucky Dillon Show, our morning show, a collaborative between myself and the Patriots.
COVID has stopped Triangle Cross Ranch from conducting any fundraisers since March of 2020. Current state government issues has stopped our ability to have fundraisers until March 2021. We need financial donations to get through the rest of the year. Any financial support is welcome, or just send $1 US silver dollar a month to support our Christian mission. Triangle Cross Ranch, 36049 County Road 51, P.O. Box 727, Gailton, Colorado, 80622.
Hi, folks. I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham and Associates, LLC. I know it must seem like there's a million realtors out there making all kinds of promises. Want to hear my big marketing promise? I promise honest and fair dealings with all those I do business with. That may sound old-fashioned, and it is not very catchy, but it is true. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Farm, land, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings. When you work with my team, we'll get the right property for you and be upfront and honest with you every step of the way. Over the years, my clients have told me just that fact alone separates us from others in the industry. If you are considering buying or selling real estate, call me, James Morgan, at 720-203-0731 or visit my website at coloradoproperties.online. No catchy slogan, just a client-first, honest real estate experience. Hit it, girls.
Keep listening to the American Freedom Network.
1360 KHNC is proud to announce our partnership with My Kind CBD, a local Colorado-based company that uses no pesticides, no herbicides, completely organic, no heavy metals. All their products are CAO certified. That's right, independently lab certified. Our prices are the best in the country. Go out to 1360khnc.com and hit the shopping cart button and make your purchase today.
All of the music for the Bucky Dillon Morning Show was provided by my band, Beer for Bears. Find us on social media by looking for Beer for Bears.
Guys, on that note, if you're listening to this and you're getting a little stressed out, you're probably not going to be sleeping as well. Maybe you just have a heartache. definitely check out 1360khnc/shop. Check out our CBD products. Some of the absolutely proven health benefits of CBD products is that it relieves arthritis pain, it relieves chronic pain, it relieves chronic nerve pain, it relieves inflammation, it reduces muscle spasms and other MS symptoms, it reduces muscle soreness, it reduces chemotherapy-induced nausea and vomiting for cancer patients, it may slow the growth of cancer cells, it relieves anxiety and depression, it relieves insomnia and improves sleep, it helps treat acne and psoriasis, it helps you with withdrawals from drug or alcohol or nicotine abuse, and it helps support the station. It helps support this show. So definitely check out the CBD products, 1360khnc.com/shop. You will not get a better deal anywhere else. Herb, what do you think of all this?
I'm sitting here looking at a document. It's abbreviation. One that popped out like nobody's business. It says China. Chronic infectious neuropathic agent. Dylan, several years ago, and somewhere in boxes and storage for me is a book that I bought to read, and I couldn't finish the book. It made me so angry. The title of that book is Emerging Viruses, AIDS and Ebola. Many of the things that you've been talking about this morning were actually laid out in this book, and that was part of the reason I couldn't finish the book. The evidence that Fort Detrick, which you named, was the basis for so many biological agents that have been used and turns into diseases, supposedly based on the research that was done in this book. If it is actually a man-made disease, there will actually be a digital marker on the disease. And so, as you stated, we trying to inflame people and make people run afraid. No. The idea here is to inform people. Step back and do your own research. The evidence is out there, but it takes a little bit of time to start looking at it and tying it all together. And if we always keep human nature in the background, anytime something is out there that some crazy person can figure out a way to weaponize, they're going to do it. And it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. This is about human nature. Human nature says, I want something to protect me. And if it hurts you, I'm okay with that, depending on the situation. For us to sit back and think that everything that the government puts out to us has our best interest in mind, I think we are foolish individuals to do that. I myself have believed things in the past until you start taking the time and educating yourself and doing your own research and tying two and two together. I mean, if you think about the fact that it has been published by Ted Turner, Al Gore, and probably more than just those guys, that there's too many humans on Earth. We need to get rid of some of this human life so this planet can survive. You take that person, you take the person who's interested in the biological warfare, any and everything that they can to destroy human life. You've got that group. And now you have those who wish to figure out how to control and or make money from both sides of the battle. If we can't see a thread that tie all of these together, again, I think we need to step back and look at it just a little bit deeper.
Thanks for calling in, Herb. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Guys, this is the Bucky Dillon Morning Show. Catch me every weekday morning from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. I'll see you back here tomorrow with my guest, Suni. Facebook.com/Liberty Revolt Media. Give it a like and a follow.
Is the driveway made of fruit leather, or has the apple stopped appling? If your half of a 100-foot cottonwood tree just needs a haircut, call Affordable Tree Service North at 970-568-6898. We have saved many trees everyone else said was dead. Show-offs! Hey, you're not in this one either. From fire mitigation, bushes, trees to bees, that's 568-6898. God bless us!
The Patriot Trading Group is a different kind of gold and silver company, cleaning up the industry for 21 years. Are you tired of the high-pressured sales tactics, the constant phone calls? Are you done with the bait and switch? You just want to be treated fairly with honesty and respect? That's exactly what you get when you call 800-951-0592. You have my word on it. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Check us out online at allamericangold.com.